Hey guys, this week I have the amazing pleasure of having Claire Norman join us for the Cameron K. Gallagher Foundation, a strong partner of ours that we have supported for many years. She came today to share some mindfulness practices with our staff. And afterwards, I asked her to join me to make a quick video to share some of the awesome stuff that we learned at this presentation, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So we're gonna have a little conversation, ask some questions, just to get you guys some information on mindfulness, and hopefully you'll look into it a little bit more, as well as look into the Cameron K. Gallagher Foundation, which just is doing amazing work in our community, so that everyone understands what is mindfulness. We hear this a lot. It seems like the big buzzword these days. What is it?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Michael, because mindfulness, whereas it sounds so new and trendy right now, it's actually based on some very old concepts, some very tried and true sort of concepts to be able to calm ourselves in the moment. Mindfulness, by definition, is a practice of awareness. It's a practice that helps to increase focus. There is a formal definition of mindfulness. It means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, and non-judgmentally. Non-judgmentally is very important because we really open ourselves up to really what actually is happening and not what our brains are telling us might be happening, which is a big disconnect, causes some stress.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand. So how does it help us? Like, what's the point here?
Well, mindfulness, it is a big deal because mindfulness is a tool that can take the environment of living in 2018 with all the distractions and all of the many multi-layered data coming in at us all the time to be able to stay alert and focused on what's happening. There's so much distraction in today's world. Much of it's good. There's a lot of new things coming out, new ideas being explored, new businesses, new techniques in triathlon, all good things. But really, how much can you handle in one moment? The truth is, you can only really handle one thing at a time. And so mindfulness is a practice that we need today. We need to be able to focus in on one thing at a time so that we can make good decisions and we can make have good outcomes from our efforts, out on the course or in the boardroom or at school. We need to be able to really focus on what's happening and not be so wired about everything else happening in today's world.
It's extremely hard. It's actually something that I've personally been working on a lot. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life.
You have 7 children.
Lots of children, family, work, my own athletic pursuits, and it's having a moment just to make sure that I'm focused on what I need to be. So where do you practice this? Like you have to have a spot you go to. Like how does this work?
Another favorite question. So actually, mindfulness, there's formal and informal practices. But what we like to say across the board is that it is accessible and available to all, no matter what you're doing. We are busy in today's world. We're parents, we're workers, we're coaches, we do a lot of things. But if you have one activity you do every single day, let's pretend that it's pouring your coffee or it's just walking even from your front door to the door of your car to get in. There's certain movements that will happen every day. If we learn to layer in a mindful approach to those everyday activities, we have begun the practice. And so whereas it's nice to have some time in our day to sit for even 1 or 2 minutes, some folks have a hard time finding that. But if that's impossible, way too busy, do something you're already doing and layer in that sense of really knowing what's around you without judgment and just really focusing your senses toward the activity, that one repetitive activity daily. That will start your practice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you shared an article with us by Triathlete Magazine that essentially said endurance sports are the perfect kind of venue to practice mindfulness. And that was really impactful to me and meaningful.
Yep. Each of the 3 disciplines lends itself to a marvelous way to practice mindfulness. In particular, the swim. A lot of folks have sort of that amygdala, that fight or flight sensation that comes in open water. Not all of us, some of us do. And so to have a mindful practice and discern through what really is a threat and what's not, and to be able to take that amygdala, that activity, and focus it in on just the movements necessary to swim the distance. It's really a way of tuning in and entering that flow and that zone that the endurance sports allow us to get to. And it's really a gift to be able to do it. Cycling, similarly, we recruit muscles. we don't want to use muscles we need later for the run. And so we do small things. We make small adjustments in the way we're fit to our bike. We do things that helps us really, really be efficient in the muscles we're recruiting to make that course. And then, of course, the run, there's something so beautiful and zen about a long run anyway, but it's not without distraction. It's often not without pain, and it's often not without a lot of judgmental thoughts. I'm not going fast enough. I'm really hot right now. So the brain takes in these thoughts that mean nothing to moving the legs. And so that 3-sport activity really allows you to bring in a mindful practice, take in what's around you without judgment, recruit what's efficient and necessary to get to the finish line. And then at the end, what dumps out of practice of mindfulness is extreme gratitude. And we all know, some of us that have made our way to a finish line of any distance, there's always gratitude at the end. And so it's a similar journey in mindful practice.
That's awesome. And I know that several times in my training or my racing, I'll have this moment of just what I call flow, where everything just seems to come together. Body, mind, just focus, performance is fantastic. And you explained that entering mindfulness is a way to create flow more often.
Definitely.
Which is what I'm chasing every single race. And so it's fantastic.
Yes, I'm glad you had that experience and have that association with sort of the flow and the ability to get to flow through some kind of, I don't like to use the word discipline, but let's just call it repetitive mindful activities in your life. Sort of disciplined activities that you bring mindfulness toward. It allows the flow, which is really how you were meant to be. Yeah. We were all meant to be in that flow at all times, which is that where everything's working at once. But, we are human and we have thoughts and we have things that kind of interrupt that sense of being in that actual zone that is so sweet. And so mindfulness helps us kind of, dodge those things that keep the flow from being exactly in front of us. We're going to be human and we're going to have thoughts, but with mindful practice, you're going to drop into your flow much more easily, and it's going to be just so sweet. We say it to ER physicians. I don't know who needs to be on the flow more than an ER physician sometimes. And what they do is a mindful practice. A lot of surgeons do before they begin a surgery is they mindfully wash their hands. And so it's as simple as that. They don't have time to sit on a cushion. Many of y'all don't either. But you do something before your activities that helps get you ready for the flow and open to that flow. And mindfulness is one way to do it.
Excellent.
It really works.
Excellent. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I just so appreciate you being here, and I just hope you guys will look into this more, do some reading on mindfulness, look at the Cameron K. Gallagher Foundation, reach out to them to learn more. They're in a lot of the area schools. They're working with some different businesses and some different sports teams. And there's just so much opportunity and so much giving that they're doing in the community. So please look into it and use mindfulness in your daily practices. So thanks for joining us.